a road that, oh,
We
never mind.
are southwest of Willits, northwest of Ukiah.
No, I know that, but I don't know if you've ever taken the opportunity to do that.
Oh yeah, sure. I grew up camping up here in these hills
Okay.
and met Lassen and Shasta and hiking a lot and Castle Crags and McLeod River and all that good stuff. Oh yeah, and the Lost Coast, all those beautiful, beautiful back roads.
We didn't do camping, but I started coming up here at some point.
We were camping up here in the 50s. My dad was part of the crew of planning the Willits bypass back in the 1950s.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Well, the funny thing is, Kitty, is my sister was the manager of Willits when it actually came to happen.
Okay. Well, you got to do that. If you've got fires and earthquakes, you need a bypass for your emergency vehicles.
Well,
Besides being practical, it's the law.
well, she got it done and then she retired early and lives in another state.
Yeah, exactly. Who is she? What's her name?
Adrienne Moore.
Oh, yes. Old home week, right? Yeah, but you can't have, I mean, even now with the bypass, downtown Willits is a traffic jam. You can't have emergency vehicles trying to get through
Well,
there.
They did the bypass and they should have put, like Cloverdale did, they put one on and off ramp in the middle of town. And
Yeah,
that's what they should have done, and 20 should have gone straight to it, and you wouldn't have that cluster in the middle of everything.
Exactly. Yeah. 20 needs its own ramp. Yeah, there's
Al Wagonet and I argued about it till
really nice. 4 lanes would have worked real well. I don't know. It got political. It got real ugly there for a while.
well, that's what I started to say. Hal Wagonet and I got in a huge argument because he didn't want anything, in the middle of town.
Well, Hal actually went for it, and you could see it from his house. It was his brother John who was absolutely against it. Hal and Rosie supported the bypass completely.
Well, they supported the bypass, but he and I argued about a third on and off ramp.
Yeah. Well, it got so political that it became a compromise, and I'm not satisfied with it, and I'm sure my father would not either, but whatever. Some things are out of our hands.
You think?
You think? Oh yeah. You don't have to think very hard, do you, Joe?
Sometimes, it's difficult. I see Cindy Wagner. I see that she signed in. Where is she? Oh, there you are.
All right.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey. I've been out of the country for quite a while and just got back.
Your volume is way lower. You lost your voice.
Can you hear me now?
It's just there's not much volume.
Not sure what's going on
Maybe
there.
I should turn mine up higher, but everybody else I heard.
Fiddle with your settings, Cindy.
Okay, I shall fiddle. Anyway, great to be back.
Welcome home.
Thank you. Thank you.
You came home just for the heat, huh?
Well, apparently not today. I got home in time for the crazy heat wave. But today it's kind of freezing on my property.
Where did you go?
I went to a country a lot of people have never heard of. It's called Azerbaijan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we were there for a month. We lived there for about 14 years, my husband and I, and we raised our kids there. And my son is Azerbaijani.
Wow.
But we went back. We started we started an educational center in 3 different parts of the country. So we went back for staff conference and It was just so fun being back again. I really, really loved it. But I'm also happy to be back on the coast. No place like home.
That's wonderful, Cindy. That's a place that's on my bucket list along with all the other stands.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. It's an amazing place. I hope you do get to visit someday.
Oh, definitely.
Wonderful.
Well, I've really enjoyed listening to the conversation. It's 4:05 now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the July lodging meeting. Thanks for attending.
Hi, John.
Hi. And we'll get started here. But as we always do, if you haven't already, go ahead and enter your name and property affiliation in the chat. We keep a little record of attendance for those who are in participation. And the meeting is being recorded as always. We're going to start trying to post them on a YouTube channel instead of within Slack, so they're more accessible. So for the record, for those who aren't able to attend in person, you should be able to find those on YouTube. I'll send out a link after the fact. But we'll jump right into the agenda, and we'd like to welcome a couple guests today. I see that I've joined the call. We have Pamela Heston-Bechtel from Mendocino College. And is it Philemon? Am I saying it correctly? Philemon, great. Welcome. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it right over to you as we have our first item as Handshake for Employers. Please jump right in.
All right. Yeah, thank you for the intro. My name is Foman Laura Lopez. I am the Career Hub Specialist here at Mendocino College. Quick thing about me, I was born in Sonoma County, but raised in Willits. So I am local and know the area very well. I got my bachelor's degree in Southern California, so I was there for a couple of years, and now I'm back. I didn't realize how much I missed Mendocino County. I love like the nature of it, the quietness of it. Yeah, it's something you definitely do take for granted once you're gone for a small amount of time.
Absolutely. Welcome back. When did you say you came back?
In October, so almost a year.
Oh, fantastic. Well, before we have Pamela introduce herself as well, I'll just let you know this group, the Lodging Association, is made up of owners and operators or anyone with an interest in lodging. And we get together once a month to just discuss current events and trends. And so to this group who hasn't read the agenda or hasn't had a chance to review it, Philemon and Pamela are here from Mendocino College to discuss Handshake, which is a job posting board system online. And so we're pleased that they could join us with short notice. Thanks for being here. And Pamela, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hi, I'm Pamela Heston-Bechtel. I had the pleasure early on in my position to meet John Glidewell and develop a hospitality and tourism program at Mendocino College. So I'm very, very thankful for that connection. And I am here just to support Philemon, and I work together. I'm the Director of Employer Partnerships, so I go out into the community and try and lure industry to partner with the college with things like Handshake, and then also be responsive to whatever needs you all are experiencing. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, and Philemon, do you want to take it away and introduce to this group the Handshake for Employers?
Yeah, I have a quick presentation. Let me
Absolutely
just share it with everyone real quick.
And then there is a phone number down here. Who is that, John?
Let's see, we have 695-9242 who has signed in.
From Mountain House. John from Mountain House Estate.
Excellent, John. Thanks so much. I'll make your note in the chat here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, and everyone can see this okay?
Yes.
All right, so yeah, intro to Handshake for Employers. Just kind of a little blurb about us, Mendocino College Career Hub. Our office is located in the Ukiah campus. And so kind of like how Pamela mentioned, I'm more of like the student-facing side, and she's more of the employer-facing side. But here's our contact information. It's careerhub@mendocino.edu. You can email that, it goes directly to me. I can reach out to Pamela with any questions about that. The phone number is 707-468-3044. We do have a webpage that's part of the Mendocino College website. So you can find it in the directory. All the information should be there. So our quick agenda is just going to go overview of what Handshake is, how to get started, posting jobs, measuring performance, messaging candidates, live connections, and additional resources. So Handshake is like a nationwide job board, and it is a way for employers to connect to colleges. So if you want to create an employer account, you can connect with Mendocino College, but you also have access to other colleges, like local colleges. Sonoma State has a Handshake account, and so does Santa Rosa JC, Cal Poly Humboldt. So it's not just us that uses it. There's a lot of schools that use it. And so how Handshake can help you is you can grow your school network. You can build brand presence on campus. You can source qualified and diverse talent with our student population, nurture relationships and form networking events, and then fill your recruitment funnel so you can ensure that there's a pipeline between the college system and your employment needs. So creating a company account is like a kind of like a 3-step system. It's 2 steps if you already have an account on Handshake. But basically you create your employer account, and then from there you create the actual like employer profile. So you will have your own Handshake account, and then you'll be part of the employer profile. And then the owner of that account can create their own team. So you can bring on like recruiters on here, or just hiring managers. So you can have like a wide range of people on your Handshake account. So getting started is fill out your profile. This is what a student will see. So if you're like a picture of yourself of like where you're working at. So I'm like a recruiter at this place. They'll be able to see a profile. You can also connect your LinkedIn onto Handshake. So if students have a LinkedIn account, they'll be able to connect to that. And students can also message you as well if they have questions about employment opportunities. So it's a very like 2-way street. It's not just like an online job board and you really hear from anybody. Like if the students are interested, like they can reach out. And then you can also review your notification preferences. So you will be receiving emails when someone does message you on Handshake, or if you get like a new applicant, you'll get that email as well. And review your school connections. Like I said, you can connect with as many schools as you'd like. And so it'll be like a little tab right here. And so Mendocino College hopefully will be on here, but if you want to add other schools, like there'll be an in progress section right here, meaning that they'll have to approve it. And once you're approved, you can post jobs on there. Posting jobs. So there's 2 methods. If you're using like an external automatic tracking system, you can do that, or you can use Handshake's automatic tracking system. So it'll be like that button on LinkedIn. I don't know how familiar you are. It's like apply versus apply externally. So if the student clicks apply externally, it'll take you to the proper website for them to submit an application, versus the apply button, which is like right on Handshake. All they have to do is upload the resume and the cover letter if you'd like. And you'll receive that once you receive an application from a student. Also, you'll be able to connect with candidates. So once you create a job application, right then and there, you'll get recommendations, like student recommendations. Like we think, a Handshake pulls out keywords and then matches it with the student's resume. So if you're looking for someone who has leadership skills, who has like, coding skills, like you will get those recommendations. So you'll be able to reach out to those students while also like taking in applications. So that's why we require you to be as detailed as possible. Handshake has AI in its website now, so you can just drag and drop a job description on the first text box, and it'll just fill out the rest of the application for you. So it just takes seconds to make a job application. It's really, really cool. They just started that like 2 weeks ago. And you can filter out preferences. So if you just want to hire graduates, you can do that. If you want to hire someone with a specific GPA, you can do that as well. Or majors, like if you're just looking for business majors, you can do that. As well as schools. So like you'll be able to pick the schools you want to show those job postings at. And then you can track all your progress all within the Handshake app if you choose to use their automated tracking system. So right here, we'll give you kind of a list of all the students who've applied, what school they go to. Pending would be you haven't reviewed their application yet. So you have the option to click this and be like hired or decline or reviewed. And then this 3 out of 3 would be qualifications. So if you have specific qualifications that you're really, really looking for, those will pop up when the students apply. And then messaging. So like I said before, it's a two-way street. You can message students and then students can message you. You can message students for events if you want to have, if you're having like a virtual event or like an in-person event, you can message students and let them know that, hey, we're having this event. You know, if you're interested, please come. And so it's just a good way to connect with students instead of like email or phone number. It's just an alternative. And then connecting live with Handshake. So you can do virtual events or virtual career fairs through Handshake. You can also do in-person career fairs. So like when we have our career fair here on campus, we will like send you all like the flyers and the invite, and then we would have you RSVP through Handshake. That way we kind of have a list of which players are going to be on campus, which couldn't make it, why. Can we like accommodate them in any other sort of way, just to kind of keep track of everything. You can also host your own events off campus. So if you want to do something on the coast, the Mendocino County coast, you can do that. And also like virtual info chats. So if you have like 15 days or 15 minutes out of your entire day to like speak with someone and would like to speak with a candidate who's interested in your company, then you have that option as well. And then Handshake has all these resources on their website. So there's like a free online Pathfinder course. It's all these videos of like how you can promote Handshake on, or your company on Handshake, blogs about, you know, tips on how to improve your company, Handshake Help Center. So it's all these documents about, you know, common issues that employers deal with, like when it comes to creating job applications or learning how to use the website. And then contact support. Handshake has their own support team to help you with any needs that you may run into. And so I want to add a little bit of metrics to kind of give you an idea of how we're pushing Handshake to the students. Disclaimer, I've only been in this position since March. So I think these numbers are good. And so in this past, 4 months alone, we've gotten 209 students active on Handshake to activate their Handshake account. 219 in total signed in last year. So it's like a 10 person difference. These past months, I've had 48 students come in. So it's an average of like 12 students per month coming into the Career Hub. And this is just walk-in. Once we create workshops, once we create events, hopefully those numbers will go up. And in the past 28 days, we've had 33% students log in to their Handshake account just to like browse through applications, posts, and stuff like that. And so our activation rate may be a little low, but from what I've heard from Handshake, we're doing really well. We're kind of on track. So we've only had 2% of our students activate their Handshake account compared to other institutions. Like these are bigger schools with a bigger team. Our team's pretty small, but we always hit the ground running. And this is kind of factoring the whole entire school year. So they had, 12 months to have students activate their Handshake account. What I really found interesting though, is a lot of our graduates are using Handshake. So we have 83.3% of our graduates used Handshake. And so that's kind of a signal to us as saying all these students are getting their associates or their certificates and they're wanting to join the workforce. They're ready to join the workforce compared to other institutions who only get like 21.8 of their graduates using Handshakes. And that's it.
Oh, that's fantastic, Philemon. Thank you. And I am a little bit familiar with Handshake. I have an account as a graduate from a school, and I am really impressed and surprised at how well the platform really caters to connecting employers and potential job inquiries. So for example, I mean, it's just like, it's a really great conduit. It's really thought out, where an employer or company can say, hey, this is what I want to find, and target specific schools or programs. And then it'll go directly to those students who show either, you know, they demonstrate that they have an aptitude for whatever the job application could be. And so it eliminates a lot of that inefficiency, which I've found to be really exciting. So I'm looking forward to integrating it into our company to see if we can start finding candidates who want to work in the hotel industries, specifically in our area. And for now, do we want to invite any questions from folks in the crowd before we move along on the agenda? Any questions from this group? Well, it's really good information.
I do.
Oh, go ahead, Ken. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I was on mute. Do you have any hiring numbers, Philemon, on how many people actually not just use the service, but actually benefit from it?
So Handshake is fairly new to us. Hiring numbers, we need more like employer engagement to do that. So we need the employers to be like, hi, hire these students. There have been, like I said, if they hire the student externally, we won't see that data. And so hopefully by this time next year, we will have that data. Like I said, I've only been in this position for a couple months, so that's something we will start recording in the future.
Great, no problem, thanks.
And I was really interested in learning about the virtual career fair feature. I think that could be exciting, especially for our industry, as Mendocino College starts to enroll more students and graduates in their Handshake program.
Yeah, and to kind of like build upon that, yeah, definitely like there's a lot of Q&A sessions that you can host on Handshake. So if students have questions about, yeah, the lodging industry, how they can get their foot in the door, like, you know, what certificates or degrees they need, that it would be a good way to start and connect with those students.
Absolutely. And Pamela, I see you were going to jump in there. Did you want to add anything?
Yes, that Philemon and I are working on a calendar of events for the 24-25 school year, and having a hospitality driven event at the Coast Center is something that we're really talking about. And we're also going to be doing some targeted events based on interest in each of our school district areas. So we wanted to put that out there and hope that students don't really realize that, you know, they just say, I don't want to work at a hotel, but they don't realize all of the amazing benefits of working at a hotel and all of the different jobs that are available. So we could use your support and just kind of championing that effort and showing up the day of the event. We would like it to be not only to high school students, but also maybe people that are entering a different career, and they might be able to see themselves in something like that. Kind of a reimagined career fair, but very directed towards the hospitality industry for the coast.
Yeah,
Thank you. Perfect timing.
Kevin, I hear some comments coming from your phone. Are you or just on? You're unmuted. Okay.
I'm sorry about that, everyone.
No worries. Great. And yeah, so I remember that there was some conversation about getting a career or hospitality focus on the career fair, and maybe putting that together sometime in the early spring before summer really ramps up, where, you know, most of our industry is in the hiring phase. So I think that was sort of the target for even next year. Is that right? Yeah. And Pamela, as you mentioned before, you and I and a couple other folks we're trying real hard to bring a hospitality and tourism program to Mendocino College. And I imagine once that's underway, that Handshake will become even more relevant for our industry to connect its job postings to that program for those interested locally or even regionally. So that's exciting as well. Great. Welcome. Any more questions from the group before we say goodbye to our guest speakers?
Not a question. This is Scott. But as you know, I'm on the California Lodging Industry Association board, and every year we present hospitality students in California with scholarships. And I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting for us to be able to provide those scholarships in Mendocino County. So keep that in mind when everything's up and running to hit me up to get the school on our scholarship list.
Oh, very cool. Absolutely, Scott. Thanks for that reminder. I know that you're really active with that, so thank you. Wonderful. And seeing no hands and no additional notes in the chat, we'll go ahead and call that an agenda item and say thanks again, Pamela and Philemon. Thanks for joining us.
Is it okay if I stay for Jamie's report?
Oh my gosh, yeah, you stick around as long as you'd like.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I'm gonna head out though, but thank you guys so much.
All right, Philemon, thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you.
So before we move on to the second item on the agenda, there's a brief poll that we'll launch for the group. And it's just 4 questions, but if you have a chance to take a look at your screen, hopefully you have access to select the current staffing levels at your property, whether you're overstaffed, understaffed, right, have a good balance. And as you scroll down the list, you'll see there's some questions as well about how's business doing this month. So even if you aren't directly related to lodging in your role, if you have a chance to just answer as honestly as you feel is appropriate for your business, then please do. And while we're waiting for folks to select some answers, because I know there's a lot to look over. Jamie, are you okay if we do a quick skirt over the July 1st laws before we move on to BMC area update?
Sure.
Okay. Actually, I think, I don't know, there could be questions. I hate for it to drag out. So let's rearrange it and have you go before we go over those things.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to give a couple updates.
So sorry, Jamie.
I'm sorry.
I mean, no, let's finish the poll and then
Gotcha.
before we jump into that, yeah, then I'll cue you up. I just want to make sure you're ready for that one.
No worries.
Thank you. And we'll wait about 10 more seconds for folks to finish polling, and then we'll end the poll. All right, so hopefully on your screen you see the results of the poll, and question number 1, how are staffing levels currently? It looks like almost everyone has a good balance of staff. They're staffed appropriately, which is good, right in the middle of summer. And just one respondent who is understaffed and needs to hire. So maybe an opportunity to try out the Handshake platform. After summer, are you looking to hire more, reduce staff, or keep staffing levels the same? It looks like about half of the respondents will retain the same staffing levels, so that's great. 36% of respondents will need to reduce staff and lay off some workers, as happens sometimes. And one respondent will need to increase staff after the summer as some workers return to school, etc. How are things going in July, our busiest month of the year? Just 3 out of 11 respondents feel that it's going great and better than expected. Most respondents feel like it's going about as expected. It is going okay. And I think the good news is that not many of us, only one, feel it's going poorly. And I'm sorry to hear that from that one respondent. Looking ahead to August, how are things going? 2 respondents say it's going strong. 4 respondents, pretty good, and 3 respondents say it's concerning. Bookings are less than expected. So some trends to keep an eye on as we move on into the next month of summer, and we'll probably launch a full survey for our next monthly meeting so we can kind of keep track of business performance and how things are going. All right, and moving back to the agenda, we'll go ahead and jump ahead to the VMC area update. And I believe, Jamie, you're representing for VMC today as Ramon is not on the call.
Yeah, and Lisa's also on the call, so anything that she wants to chime in on as well. I wanted to well, regarding lodging specifically, Janice, who couldn't be here today, wanted to just put out to the group, VMC is supporting Wine Song this year, if you weren't aware, and the reason being is because it has always been, or historically, it's been a huge economic driver for the coast. And so as it puts heads in beds, and that is directly our job, we are supporting it. And to that end, Janice has asked if there are any inns that might want to offer a special rate specific to the wineries, not to guests in general, but just to any winery participants. We expect about 30 each day. Not necessarily the same wineries, so 30 Pinot and then 30 other wineries for the grand tasting on Saturday. And Wine Song is September 6th and 7th. It's always the first weekend after Labor Day. So if you do want to offer like 10% off or something like that, just send that information to Janice. And John, you have a question?
Oh, that was my question. Should we send it to you or to Janice?
Send it to Janice. So that's I'll put in the chat her email address.
I just added it so you can keep on going.
Okay, awesome. So that takes care of Janice. And then Scott, you had a question?
Not a question, just we've been doing that for years, and we've now got I don't know, at least 5 wineries that stay with us each year. So
Excellent.
it's
Thank
very
you.
beneficial for those to do so.
Cool. Thank you.
And we've made great friends with those vintners too.
I'll bet. Smart man. So moving on, the Restaurant Association. So there's been talk for over a year, well over a year, about a restaurant association. Matt Talbert of Left Coast Seafood in Ukiah and Stephanie Duncan of Duncan or Slam Dunk Pizza, excuse me. They both had expressed an interest working together to start a restaurant association well over a year ago. And then we didn't hear anything about it. We had some other folks that were interested, we being VMC, we had some other folks that were interested in us starting a restaurant association. We invited them, but I will say that I did not reach out to them to find out the status of their restaurant association. So there was a bit of a miscommunication. And anyway, I've since had, we held, I think it was 3 association meetings, hoping that they would have been a part of it, but they were not. And they have apparently been working in the background to create a 501c6 for their restaurant association. And after speaking with Matt specifically, we just said, you know, VMC, we're going to back off and not hold any more restaurant association meetings. Our goal was to pass it off anyway, but, you know, rather than pass it off to someone that's going to start from ground zero, and if they've already got stuff going on, we just said, we're out of it. We don't really have the bandwidth either to host that on an ongoing basis. But we have let several folks, probably not everyone that's interested, but know that if they are interested in joining that restaurant association, that we will give them Matt and Stephanie's contact information. And I believe they've had one in-person gathering thus far. So we don't want to be at odds with our stakeholders. And so if anyone has a restaurant on their property or is interested in participating in their association, I'm happy to again give that contact information to you. But VMC, as of this moment, is not facilitating any other restaurant association meetings. So that is that update. And any questions on that at all? Nope. Okay. And actually, Pamela, I did let Julia Siderakis know about that. So, and then Lisa, do you have any updates for VMC?
I don't have any updates. That
Okay.
I think you covered most everything.
Okay. All right. And did anyone have any questions? I sent out about a week and a half ago, or maybe it was last week, beginning of last week, time escapes me. Our upcoming PR pillars for the next few months. Basically what those are our PR person puts together ideas to pitch to her group of writers. And then the hope is that they will either say, hey, I'd like to write a story about that, or hey, I want to come out and experience that for myself and write a story about it. So that is the idea of the pillars. And if you're not on our internal email list to get information like that, please let me know and I will happily add you. Scott, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wondered if you had any info on success or lack of success, or whether it's still just ongoing, of Ramon's recent, it wasn't a survey, what do I want to say? What did we DocuSign online?
Oh, the petition.
Petition, yeah.
So yeah, so I think you guys know, and I hope I'm not speaking out of school, but we've just finalized an agreement with the county where we are going to start talking to property GMs and owners about increasing the business improvement district assessment from 1% to 2%. And we are just in the beginning stages of that. Ramon is actually on his honeymoon this week and next. And so we will be making a hard court press upon his return. So there you have it. But if anyone wants to talk about it, we do have the petition, and whether you want to sign a hard copy or DocuSign, and we will be getting in touch with everyone. So yeah, that is ongoing, and we're hoping that that passes, because that means more money to promote lodging. So
Jamie, do you feel like we can maybe include that on next month's agenda for this group, so we can answer any questions from the Lodging Association and kind of get the word out?
yes, please.
Okay, let's do that.
And thank you.
Yeah, we'll put it out in the email beforehand, so the participation will
Awesome.
expect it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I know Joe's got her hand up. I'll go back on mute.
Oh, I didn't even see it. It totally blended in your background. Sorry. And you're on mute, my dear.
Unmute me. The thing I was going to bring up had to do with Wine Song.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I found was really good, and I don't know how you're doing it this year or how we are doing it this year, but we always donated to Wine Song.
Mm-hmm.
And that way we got in the program and we got on the podium. And so our name got out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we always donated, and we also always gave a room. I mean, we only had 10 rooms, but we always gave a room. And actually, Dawn Marie decided one of our rooms was her favorite. And the last 7 years that we had the inn, she stayed with us each year.
Nice.
But you do get really wonderful, you get wonderful people, you get people who appreciate what you're doing, and then you get involved with knowing how Wine Song runs, and you get to go to Wine Song too.
Yeah.
So
well, I got to back it up this year, because it's a smaller event this year. There's only room for 300 people, guests each day. And so the live auction, when I was doing this event, 10 years ago, I know it's like, woo, there were 78 live auction lots. This year, the cap on that is 20 auction lots. And so we're not
having a silent auction also.
There's a silent auction with only 30 auction lots in the silent auction. And in years past, it was like a couple hundred auction items. So everything's been scaled down dramatically. But just this year. So I want everyone to be aware of that. The 40th anniversary of Wine Song is going to be next year, and it will be back at the Botanical Gardens. It's just that the foundation found itself with a lack of resources, shall we say. And so that's why they reached out to Visit Mendocino to see if we could help support them, which we were happy to, again, because of the whole economic impact to the coast and putting heads in beds. They are also partnering with the Fort Bragg Food Bank as well as Mendocino Coast Clinics. And Coast Clinics, the Healthcare Foundation, and the Food Bank will each receive some funds from their auction lots in the live auction. In fact, the Fund in Need is going to specifically benefit Mendocino Coast Clinics. So that's a new one. I know that the foundation is interested in keeping those partnerships moving forward. But this year it's because it's at Little River Inn and there's very little room there to expand, unlike the gardens. They're not offering, they're not asking anyone for freebies, and they're also not really offering, free tickets either, because they just don't have the space for it. So it's a little bit different than previous years, a heck of a lot more intimate. And time is a ticking on that one. So, I do think it's nice to be able to offer the wineries that are going there a little bit of a little bit of a discount. But again, we're not trying to put up the big VIPs or even give out free tickets to all the VIPs, because they need to make money.
That's
So,
a good point.
yeah.
So do you have enough auction lots, is what you're saying?
I don't know yet. Janice is working on that. So a lot of the auction lots for the silent auction are going to be from those participating in the grand tasting. And then we're looking for some experiences, and we've just been talking about that. Tawny McMillan, who runs the Mendocino Coast Clinic's crab cake cook-off, she is the auction manager. And so we're working with her, and then just stuff that we like. We have this longtime VIP that donates tons of wine every year, like really high-end French wines, and they're probably going to have 3 or 4 auction lots in the live auction alone. But I'll tell you guys right now, we did get South Africa a safari auction lot this year. So there are going to be some international lots, not the same degree, again, because we're not doing as many auction lots, but there's going to be some interesting things. And I'm sure I'll talk to Janice too, but between Janice and Tawny, just rounding out both the silent and the live auction. So that's where it stands. And Scott, would you like to weigh in?
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I had my hand up earlier because I was going to ask, why it had moved from Botanical Gardens. So you've answered that. Does that mean there won't be any song this year? Just wine?
No, there's going to be music. It's going to be the same as it was. In fact, the nice thing about the grand tasting this year is, so Little River Inn has always done the past hors d'oeuvres for the Pinot Noir celebration. And then at the grand tasting, even though it's on their property, we're going to bring in, like, Piachi's is going to be there, and about a half a dozen or so other food vendors. And the auction lunch will be a sit-down auction lunch. That's the VIP tickets, and that's catered by Little River Inn. And there's going to be live music both days. It's just that, instead of having multiple musicians, at Wine Song, it's probably going to be like one group, because again, the area is pretty small. So
right. How many guests at one single time will be allowed?
300.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say,
though, there's only seating for, I believe, 100 VIPs.
Okay. I was just going to say that, if this financial crunch were to happen again, I mean, I've got 10 acres where, we could have booths and musicians on different corners of the little roadways and everything, kind of the way the Botanical Gardens is. Cool. But I wouldn't have parking for 300. So I guess I'll take that offer away.
Parking is always the rub, as are shuttles. So, in fact, John, I know you were interested in the whole shuttle aspect to Fort Bragg, and Terry is looking into that. So I just wanted to make you aware,
Sounds great.
because we do need to mitigate people drinking and driving. Although interestingly, Janice did bring up that there were never shuttles for the Pinot celebration, but I'm sure there was query about that in years past. Yes, Scott.
Yeah, I just went to the Mendocino Grove lobster boil, and they only had about, I think, 88 attendees, and even that huge property had trouble parking people with only 88 attendees. And most of those attendees came via the shuttle anyway. So
yeah, it's nice to have them. It's convenient, and it's a safe ride too. I've taken a lot of your time. I'm so sorry.
No, this is good updates, good content, Jamie. Thanks for all of it.
You bet. Thank you.
Was that that was your way of saying you're done?
Yes.
No, keep it going. Come on, what else you got? No, that's great. Thank you very much. And Lisa, thanks for joining. I think we have 15 minutes left before our hard stop at 5 p.m. So we'll just continue on down the agenda. And feel free to jump right in with hands or unmute and just start asking questions. You can also put your comments or questions in the chat. We'll try and get to them. But specifically, we have some July 1st laws that have just taken place, and there's been some commotion about a couple of them. So I'm going to share my screen so we can review them together. And are you able to see my screen? I'm getting a head nod from some folks. Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, the first one, just to keep an eye on general market rates for attracting new hires or employees, or also rewarding your existing labor base. Minimum wages are continuing to rise in different industries. We are aware of the fast food minimum wage that rose in April up to $20 per hour. Now, of course, the healthcare workers are up to $23 an hour by the end of June. And the law applies to nursing assistants, medical techs, and janitorial workers. It'll increase by $1 each of the next 2 years until the base wage is $25 an hour. A lot of the economy in our county is medical, as I've been informed. So, this really could have an impact on how minimum wages are compressed into the lodging sphere. So hopefully it won't be too dramatic right off the bat, but something to keep an eye on. This is the one that's been disruptive, and I've had a few actually different people reach out with requests for clarification. But the California junk fee ban, which took effect on July 1st, there's a couple different bills referenced here, a Senate bill and a California Assembly bill. But it prohibits advertising, displaying, or offering a room rate does not include all fees or charges required to stay. So, for example, hotel resort fees will now need to be included in the room rate shown to travelers. And if you've logged on to Expedia in the last 2 weeks after this was enacted, you'll see they have a pop-up window that shows, hey, there's no more surprises. Here's what you will pay, which includes taxes and fees. Whereas before, the hotel was posting its base rate per night is what the display listing showed. So there could be confusion from guests. There could be confusion from other operators and owners. And now that you are armed with this information, hopefully you can also kind of bookmark or save some of these FAQ links. There are really handy guides that have been published from the state of California, but also the California Hotel Lodging Association that kind of demonstrate which fees, which resort fees, et cetera, qualify to be displayed versus taxes and assessments, which are not required. Moving along, also that took effect on July 1st, the California 24-hour cancellation requirements for hotels. So to clarify, hotel reservations will require to offer free cancellations for 24 hours after the booking confirmation is sent. So this doesn't mean that at any time a guest can cancel within 24 hours. It's just that as soon as they click that booking button or call to confirm, they have a 24-hour window to cancel with no penalty, except for if the reservation is made in outside of that or 72-hour advance of stay. So if they're booking within 3 days of their arrival, then that 24-hour law doesn't apply because it's too short of notice. But otherwise, it's not just a click and confirm and you're locked in for the consumer anymore. They do have that option to withdraw their booking with no penalty. Another fast fact guide from CHLA listed in the agenda. And the final July 1st item is the Workplace Violence Prevention Program, which is required for all employers, not just within the lodging industry, but to develop a plan and have it published within their operation and available for inspection from Cal OSHA in case there are any inspections that take place. There are templates that you can obtain for free from California Hotel Lodging Association. There's also other resources online, but there's a link in the title on this agenda item and also in the sub-bullet point below. So that was a few of those laws. We've actually been covering them, which is no surprise, for the last few months. So some of these are probably not new to you, but before we mosey on, I'll invite any comments or questions in the last 10 minutes on these items from the group. And that was a whirlwind, but thanks for sticking in there. We'll go back to the agenda here. Looks like there's no comments at the moment. Okay, San Francisco is capitalizing on its cool weather to attract tourists, positioning itself as a refuge from the sweltering heat affecting much of the U.S. Post-pandemic, the city has faced challenges such as increased crime and office vacancies, but tourism is rebounding with promotions like Beat the Heat in San Francisco. So wanted to just run that by this group, but also having VMC on the call, wondering if there may be an opportunity to drag along the coattails of this promo, since certainly we're dealing with excessive heat warnings throughout much of California and the West. We know that the coastal lodging industry in the county is still quite cool. Here in Fort Bragg today, we've had cloud cover and really kind of fog for the entire day. So we're definitely seeing a lot of interest from inland folks wanting to beat that heat. And maybe an opportunity before that promotion or that campaign expires for us to jump aboard. Scott with a hand raised. Go ahead, Scott.
Some of you know we live in San Francisco during the week, and we actually have been, I'm here in San Francisco today, but have been fully at the Andiron for the last 3 weeks due to all kinds of busy stuff going on. And so we have let friends from the far East Bay, 3 sets of friends, stay each week of the 3 weeks we've been gone. So the desire is there.
Oh, absolutely. Just across the bay, and temperatures are what, 15, 20, 25 degrees higher in some places.
And maybe 30 degrees higher.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they appreciate that refuge. Moving on to the last few agenda items, just from Matthews Real Estate. This last month published a report showing that sustainability demand is continuing to evolve in favor of sustainability. And as tourism grows, hospitality businesses face increasing pressure to adopt sustainable practices and reduce environmental impact. According to Booking.com, 73% of surveyed travelers intend to opt for sustainable accommodation this year, which marks a consistent increase in environmentally conscious travel over a 6-year period. U.S. hotel performance split. So this is interesting from Skift. Luxury hotels rise as low-end brands slump. And the reason why it's news is because this is basically a change in historic trends. So luxury hotels in the U.S. have seen significant growth in demand and room sales, while economy hotels have experienced a decline, indicating a break from historical trends. Divergence is attributed to affluent travelers feeling more comfortable spending on luxury accommodations due to the wealth effect, while lower income households are prioritizing essential expenses amid high inflation. Despite overall GDP growth, demand for economy hotels has weakened, highlighting the varying impact of economic pressures across different income levels. We've heard anecdotes and testimony from this group over the last few months that many of their higher end rooms are tending to fill up more quickly than the lower economy positioned rooms, which seems to be interesting. So it sort of corroborates a little bit on this agenda item. Pausing briefly to welcome comments in the last 5 minutes before we move on. And hearing none, we have a survey from Hotel Management Magazine showing Americans want more travel and more local travel with shorter escapes. So a recent survey by Resort Pass conducted by the Harris Poll reveals shifting summer travel habits among Americans. Despite averaging just 1.6 vacations last summer, respondents aspire to take 2.5 vacations this year, with 2/3 of them believing shorter trips are more rejuvenating than longer ones. So the trend is reflected in a preference for local getaways over international travel, emphasizing a growing interest in daycations and brief escapes. While we in this industry don't generally want to see daycations, we like to see overnight stays with heads and beds. At least a little bit of that information is good because most of our feeder market comes from short distances within 100 miles, within 200 miles, and so forth. And this last agenda item with the last 4 minutes we have from booking.com is that family travel is expected to increase this summer. And Booking.com reports that searches for accommodations by families for the summer travel season are already seeing an 8% increase in compared to last year, while flight searches globally are seeing an increase of 21%. These figures underscore an interest in travel this summer as families look to make the most of the warmer months ahead. And almost 2/3 of families rank spending quality time as the main motivator for traveling this year, followed by finding the time to properly relax. So there we have it. We finished an entire agenda right before the end of the 1 hour period. And I'll open up the floor for just general chat and conversation with the 4 minutes we have left before we cut off. Very nice. That means that all of the communication was received clearly. There's no questions. Really hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your July. Thanks so much for being a part of the meeting. And Scott, you have a last minute question. Please jump in.
Are you still putting on Slack, even though you're also doing YouTube?
Yeah, I'll still publish
Okay.
the agenda and the recording on Slack. Good question.
Thank you.
Also, you're welcome. I'll send out via the listserv a link to the YouTube channel, which will have the recording as well. And 3 minutes left. Who has travel plans this summer? Is anyone going anywhere more exciting than Azerbaijan?
No.
No, me neither. We're gonna go.
Boise does not count.
You're going to Boise?
I actually just got back from a road trip to Boise.
Oh, righto. Yeah, we were just there at the end of June.
Is that right?
Yep.
Probably there at the same time.
Yeah, probably so. Scott, where
It's
are you
not
going?
Oh, it's not exciting, but I am going to Portland, Oregon for my 50th grade school reunion. And nobody's ever heard of a 50th grade school reunion before. So that'll be
That's
kind
true.
of interesting. It'll
Well,
be interesting.
It's on the record, so now a lot of people are going to hear about
Right.
it. Ricardo, still on the line. How you doing down there in Mendocino? How's everything going with the construction progress? If you're still on the call, Ricardo.
Yes, John, I'm here. Before I give you my updates, congrats on being featured on that. I saw a link that Scott shared on LinkedIn where you were featured with the Beachcomber. So that was great to see.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, no, things are moving forward at a slower pace than we wanted. And I personally spent a couple of weeks at our Colorado property helping them because of an unexpected absence of their GM. But things are moving along.
Wow, great. So got to see how they were doing over there in Colorado. That's exciting. Well, thanks for attending today. And as we are going to drop off here in just a little bit, I'll say goodbye, have a happy summer, and we'll see you next month in August.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Everyone.